Alright, so we're back on the 1985 Sylvan boat rebuild. Actually, it's January now. I did the remodeled our bathroom, finished that up, and the laundry room. I'll show you a quick shot of that. That's why I had to take off about 6 months. But I am back, and it's after Christmas, and I decided to pull the trailer in and start stripping that down, since once I get the boat done, I'm going to want to put it back on the trailer to work on the top. And I really don't want to mess around with the trailer after that. So, good time to start the trailer. As you can see, I stripped it all down. Took all the rubber, the keel rollers, I guess they call them, off. The bunks and even the bunk brackets. I've getting to the point where I'm going to wire grind it, and then I use some OSFO rust converter, prime it and paint it. Haven't quite figured out what kind of paint I'm going to use yet. I'm still working on that. The boat is in pretty good shape. I do have some re-welding work that was done back there. You can't really see it, but it looks like it has been patched up at least once. It's actually not in too bad a shape, but it has been repainted once. So again, I'm just going to scuff it up with a wire brush and try to get the big rust spots off underneath the axle, and underneath the frame is probably the worst because it didn't look like they really repainted that. My springs aren't in too bad a shape. And I've got some seal rings I'll show you that my seals are kind of bad. I've got them covered up right now. And I also have some new hubs. Just decided to buy new ones rather than replace the bearings. So I'll explain that a little later too. But next step is to wire brush and put the rust converter on, and then figure out what kind of primer I'm going to use tomorrow. Alright, I said I'd mention a little shot of my laundry room and bathroom. This is why it took me 6 months to start working on my boat again. New laundry room remodel. Start from this side, new utility door, wall. Gutted the whole thing, put in a whole new ceiling. New window, new header, extended header, cabinets all on this side. Got all the pull-out drawers for the laundry separated, all on the bottom, and a folding counter on the top, which seems to be getting filled up with knickknacks. Two big cabinets on the one side, new door, whatever you call that thing, coat hanger, shoebox, cabinets on this side, and washer and dryer here. Had to deal with heating, had to deal with venting it out through the floor, had to run 220 electrical. Would pretty much just prefer to forget about it. Oh, by the way, I got radiant floor heating in here too. So that's the laundry room. I'll give you an outside view. This is a shot of the bathroom. The one I just finished. Same thing, gutted the walls in this one, put in new flooring, new tile, new cabinets. Actually, this turned out really nice. Quick shot of the other side, the shower. This is Cadden's artwork here. Put in a cast iron tub, all new plumbing, and ceiling light for the shower stall. So that's the main floor bathroom. Here's a shot of the master bath. I took out the tub, put in a shower stall. It's all tiled. I did use an acrylic base, new toilet, new base, although the sink is already corroded. Let's see, and new exhaust system. That was it for this one. Of course, tile, no radiant heating here. This was the first one I did. Okay, back to the boat project. So it is the day after I wire brushed it with a drill and a wire brush. And I've run into my first problem with the trailer. Outside of the seal races, this crossbar in the back has got quite a bit of rot. I'll show a mirror underneath here. Quite a bit of rot underneath. Whoops. And pretty much compromises the structural integrity, I think. So my plan is I'm going to continue with the painting because I've already got the garage all warmed up, actually with the rust converter first. Then I'll paint it and get the wheels back on. Probably not paint this last section here and get it over to a welder so I can get a new crossbar put on. I don't know if I need to order one first. This is 44 inches wide, and I saw one online for about $50 at 45 inches wide, so I'm sure I could cut it down. I'm assuming the curve will be roughly the same. The boat really doesn't sit on this one anyways. The back of it, it shouldn't. It should just roll up. It's more of a protector and a structural rather than for the trailer, rather than having the boat sit on that. The bottom keel roller should actually be a few inches off the bottom. Alright, so I'll get started on that, on the rust converter, and check back in with you when I've probably finished painting. Okay, since the discovery of my rear crossbeam rot, I decided to throw the wheels back on and get it over to the welder and get that fixed before I started any painting, so he could take a look at the integrity of the trailer overall. So I wanted to show you something here. Although this trailer did have bearing buddies on it, and it did not feel hot when I towed it up to 3 hours. This bearing buddy was actually seized up, and this bearing is pretty rusty, so that would have definitely failed on me on a long trip. I'm surprised it was this rusty this quick, but anyways, kind of done with bearing buddies. There's some new technology out here which is really good. This is manufactured by Tie Down. Go ahead and just buy the new hubs. They're like $30, $40. They come with the bearings already pre-packed in them in the rear seal, so you almost couldn't go wrong. But the best part about it is it's got this Zerk fitting, to allow you to pump grease in between the rear seal and the bearing, and it'll go all the way out the front. And the only better option is to have it on the axle, which is right at the very end, which goes through the axle and then comes out around the bearings. But only if you have that on your axle, or if you replace your axle, can you get that. So this is the next best thing. The other thing I'm going to be doing, as I'll tell you, is that my spindle here had a bad race on it, or at least what I thought was a bad race. So I bought these at Bearing Buddies. I bought this race sleeve. They are kind of expensive, but it is stainless steel, and I just need to tap it on there and it gives me a nice brand new type seal. So I'll get the wheels back on, get it to the weld shop, and by next weekend be able to pull it back home and paint it, hopefully. I'll check in with you later. So I'm on my second wheel, and before I put the bearing cap on, I wanted to show you how this worked. I actually decided to grease the bearings because I had a Blue Mystic grease, and they packed it pre-factory with clear. So here's how it is. Here's how it works. It just oozes out the front. It's really slick. And they say when you after your bearing grease gets old, and obviously it'll turn a little bit darker, it won't be this light blue, mixed in with this, you can see the old grease come out, and when you get to the new grease, you know you've repacked it. So it's kind of not really that bad, but bit of a mess, but definitely better than pulling the hubs off and repacking them every couple of years. Okay, so we're back with the trailer. I actually got it back from the welder a few days ago. Ended up welding a lot more than I thought originally. He put a brace on the bottom, touched up quite a few spots on the fenders. That was really helpful. I knew they were loose, but since he had the welder out, it really made it nice. I would definitely recommend not planning on painting after you wire brush, and just go around and check for any weld spots. It's really not that expensive if you got a local welder by you just to touch up a few spots. So I am actually done painting. I'm going to store it for about, 7 days in the garage here. I'm actually going to pull the boat in now and start working on it because I don't want to put the hardware on yet. The paint came out really nice. It's a lot shinier than I thought. This is a hammered, it's called Rust-Oleum hammered black, but it actually comes out gray. And as you can see here, it gives it a nice, really nice finish, but it is a very high gloss. I'm wondering if that gloss is going to tone down at all. I really wasn't expecting that, but it's not too bad. It's just a lot shinier than I was expecting. So anyways, what I decided to do is, of course, I went through and used the Osfo metal conditioner prior to it. I used Rusty primer, which is the, I guess, red oxide primer, which is really good stuff. And then, although I put it on by a brush, I used the Rust-Oleum hammered paint. Really weird stuff, kind of goopy. You have to be real careful with it because it dries. To touch, they say, in 30 minutes, although mine took about an hour. But I would imagine you'd have a real problem if it was too hot. You'd really want to do this between 60 and 70 degrees. And then, take your time on putting the second coat on. It really goes on thick, although it's somewhat soft now. I do expect it to harden up. Rust-Oleum always takes between 7 and 30 days to completely harden. But again, pretty happy with the paint. It came out a lot better than I expected, so I'll let it sit for a while and really get cured out. Then I'll put all the hardware back on. In the meantime, I'm going to actually pull the boat in and start working on the bottom again, the hull, getting all the paint off. So I'm going to go ahead and post this, and next posting will be the boat hull again.